Tyler Hoover here from Hoovy's Garage, filling in for Steve Bignante on his YouTube channel as he continues his health struggles, making my own version of junkyard videos as much as I can like him. But I am not like him at all. I am a complete idiot. The best thing you can do to help him out is maybe say how big of an idiot I am in the comment section, because comments help, likes certainly help. Subscribe to Steve's channel if you haven't already. That way when he comes back, he can pick up right where he left off on his channel without it suffering at all, which is why I'm here next to this 2004 Land Rover Range Rover HSE. This is the L322 chassis of Range Rover, the first generation Range Rover to come from BMW's tutelage. Before this, it was owned by Rover Group, built mostly and engineered in the British Midlands, and the quality wasn't very good with those cars. So when BMW bought it out, you thought it would get a little bit of German reliability, but it turned out to get one of BMW's most notorious engines of all time, at least when it comes to V8. Still, there is a lot of positive German engineering and influence in this car, but it does keep its British heritage very well. A lot of the things that made the Range Rover in previous generations great. And with that, let's start the tour. So like the Range Rovers before it, this L322 Range Rover did share an aluminum body, so you'll never see any rust on a Range Rover, along with air ride suspension. Now, it came out a few generations before in the long wheelbase Range Rovers and then was standard in the next generation. But this one, same thing. All of them got this air ride suspension that would pop randomly and leave people with a car that was sort of tucked one way. You can see this one is much lower to the ground, and that's why when you go to a Land Rover dealer and you see the car sitting low, they look broken. Actually, that's what they're supposed to do when they sit for a long time, because if the air pump runs and continues to run, it can drain the battery or burn them out. So they do, when they rest and sit for a long time, naturally sit and sink down to the ground like this. Now inside, a very spacious cabin on these, and this one you can see, we'll start in the back. It does have rear heated seats. I believe this one is the HSE. Nice big factory rubber floor mat there. And on the front side, you can see nice thick door panels. This one has the Harman Kardon Logic 7 sound system. Very, very nice stereo of its day. And the inside, well, it's starting to look a little bit BMW in here, at least with the shifter and some other things, but still very distinctive when it comes to the Land Rover. Now, some of the few unique luxury features to this luxury Range Rover was its own defrosted windshield. You can see there's little lines here, defroster lines, that you can barely see when you're driving it, but you hit that button and it'll defrost your windshield if it's iced over very quickly. You don't have to wait for the car to heat up and use the defrost to get your windshield all melted down. Very nice there, along with a heated steering wheel, which was pretty rare in 2004. Heated seats, of course. Now the key started down here, a very BMW looking key, but slightly different to be a Range Rover, down here next to the shifter. And you can see here's the height adjustment for the Range Rover right here. It would tuck down when you go on the highway, or if you're going off-road, you would want it to go up. And that was controlled by this knob right here. You have the stability control system, along with a little clock, your parking sensors, and the trunk release. All of this up here, climate control with the built-in heated seats. This is that button for the front windshield defroster. Very nice. But up in the cluster, still very analog up here. A little BMW LCD there on the bottom, looks right out of a 2007 series, but otherwise up top, its own bespoke Range Rover gauges. Now the seat here also sort of unique. This one has an extra set of adjustment like a BMW X5, where yes, it articulates in the back forwards and backwards, and of course in the back forward and back, but also it had a middle back adjustment. You can see this one has a little bit of a crease in the leather because you could adjust your middle back up as well, making for a very comfortable cabin. Now, a lot of electronics in this thing, so a lot to go wrong. The most common being air ride failures and little random electronic failures, but this one was saddled with that BMW engine, which, let's take a look. Now, I'm not sure if this might be the last car equipped with headlight wipers. In the mid-2000s, that has sort of gone the way of the dinosaur, But under the hood is that 280 or 90 horsepower 4.4 liter V8, and it is barely disguised as a Land Rover engine, but really it's a BMW engine. If you look at, say, a 2002 X5 V8, it's pretty much the same. It will have BMW logos here and here. They've been sort of neutraled out there, and then the Land Rover logo on top. Now this was only done for a few years with these cars before Land Rover was sold to Jaguar eventually, and they started getting Jaguar series engines. That's what we see nowadays under the hood of these. Say the V8 version would be a 5-liter V8 that would be supercharged, a lot of horsepower. But for a few years they did have this BMW V8, and you can see very BMW looking stuff under here as far as the reservoir for the power steering and the oil filter right there, right out of the BMW playbook. Battery is mounted up front, but if you didn't want to take all of this off for the cowling, you can jump it right off here. You have the positive and the negative terminal right there. There is the ABS system, and well, it looks like a wrench. Somebody's left their 17mm under the hood. I guess I'll take that back up to Euro Asian Bob. There is the power braking right there, and the cooling system, which is very much intact for this car. Now BMW of this era did also have issues with plastic cooling bits failing and also disabling the cars. But I think this one, the motor just finally gave up and it ended up in the junkyard. Now this one I have a personal connection to because it was my old car. It also got me started riding for Jalopnik. I made fun of Doug DeMuro and his Land Rover warranty series by buying this for less than the cost of his original Land Rover warranty. I think this car was $4,000 or $5,000, something very cheap like that, but it was pretty close to being in the grave, and I did sell it for a little less than what I paid for it. I think right on time before. I think the previous owner got a year or two out of it before. It's been in the junkyard here for the last few years. And this is what made Range Rover the tour de force of the elite that we know today. So thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to Steve Bignante's YouTube channel. Watch some more of his videos. Watch 2 or 3 of his old videos you haven't seen in a while to help him out before he comes back to us. Thanks so much.